This is Texans TV.
We are ready to rock in Houston. Let's go! Touchdown, Texans! He's in! Touchdown, Houston! Wow, what a play!
It's you, it's me, and it's Texans 360. My name's Drew Doherty. I'm your host, and we've got a fun show for you this week, coming at you from NRG Stadium on the 500 level in one of the tunnels. It's H-Town centric this week. We're checking in with A-Leaf's own Obo Okoronkwo, who had a very nice end to his season, but we go back to some of his roots. In addition to roots, we're talking with a guy in Earl Mitchell who played here in the early part of the last decade and remains here in Houston, where it's his home. We've also got the top 5 defensive plays of the week, but we want to remind you about what's been happening in Texans land right now. The team is looking for a new head coach. They've gone through a slew of interviews, and more are to come. So whoever the new guy in charge is, he's got some talent to work with. He's got a lot of draft picks, and one of the talented guys who was a first-round draft pick last year is Kenyon Green. He played his college ball at Texas A&M, and he's from Atascocita.
Well, right here is when he played for the Steelers at Lindsey Lyons Stadium with HFL football. Then that's when he played with the Outlaws on the select team. That's when he played for Atascocita High School. That's when he was in the Nike opening. That's when he played in the Under Armour All-American game. That's when he played for Texas A&M. And that's when he played for the great Texans. This means a lot. It shows you the growth. It shows the beginning. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't the beginning, he wouldn't have a future. If you don't have a start to where you can go out there and focus and study and perfect your craft in the beginning, how can you get to this point?
Home means a little bit more to Kenyon Green. Picked in the first round of the 2022 NFL Draft, Green's professional career begins ever so close to where his passion for the game started.
It's always been football. Football has always been his first love, always. Funny story is like I didn't want him to play football. I didn't because Kenyon's always been big, so he was like 5 or 6 and he's playing like the 7, 8-year-olds because he was so big he couldn't play with his age group. So they were more experienced than him.
I played this Pee Wee league called HFL in the Ogbo area. I played there my first year, wasn't so good, and then, I don't know, my second year, it just clicked for me. I fell in love after that. That's the only thing I wanted to do was play football.
Once he really started developing and we really started working with him and playing football, he started to get the idea and, you know, just really going after it. And I was like, well, son, he could be one of the great ones. He really wanted to play defense at first. Didn't have a care to play offense at all. Wanted to make sure that, hey, man, I want to be the one that go out there and tackle the man. Dad, I want to be the one. I said, well, son, you know, you got to learn both sides of the ball. This is when he played for the Outlaws with Harvey Williams. And what's crazy about that, we won state 2 years in a row, 7th grade and 8th grade. And they had a great team. We had a great team, and it was we did a lot of great stuff, man. This is when he played for the Steelers again, and we actually won the Super Bowl this year. It was a young man that he had never played football before in his life. And he decided, he said, you know what, I want to try to play football. So we got him on our team. This kid cried day after day because he didn't want to run. But we motivated him. And I told Kenyon, I said, this is where you can be a leader. He got out there with him and ran extra laps with him and got him to a point to where he was just like, okay, I can do it now.
Through the game of football and a robust support system, Kenyon took strides as a young man. The seeds of leadership were planted early and took very little time to bear fruit.
It just taught me how to, stay focused, humble yourself too. You know, each stepping stone, you know, you're gonna go through adversity, and it's gonna be hard at first, but you know, you just keep going, keep pushing, you know, and you'll get through it for sure.
To be great at something, you gotta really focus in on it and perfect your craft. So I think at a young age, Kenyon decided that, hey, I'm gonna focus my energy on football instead of all this other nonsense that's out there in the world. So he really pinpointed, and the thing of it is, the word student of the game, very big when it comes to him, because he really studied the game. We may have sparked a fire up under Kenyon for him to, you know, start doing stuff, but he carried the torch.
A force at Atascocita High School, the Blue Bloods of college football soon came calling. They all wanted Green on their offensive line. A very tough decision awaited. Green stayed close to his roots.
I said, son, it's up to you. You got to make that decision. I understand it's like a marriage. Once you make that decision, you got to be with it.
We're like, once you're there, you're there. You have to work and you have to compete. I mean, that's what it is. You have to compete. You're not going to be given anything. You have to work for it.
And I want to rep my state, you know, and changing the narrative of, you know, Texas A&M. And, you know, I feel like we're doing that. We're making it into a powerhouse. You know, in a few years to come, I think it'll be a natty sitting in there in College Station for sure.
Green's football journey wound its way back towards home on the first night of the 2022 NFL Draft. Surrounded by his loved ones, in the place he grew up, a dream was realized.
They have to pick you, so you don't know when he's going to get drafted. You know, we didn't know if we were going to have a long night. You know, we didn't know if he was going to get, you know, we just don't know. Everybody was just mingling. He was outside talking to somebody, and everybody started rushing in. I'm like, what's going on?
I just remember everybody laughing, smiling, having a great time. The crazy part, I was talking to, you know, a family friend about the draft. I was like, I feel like I'm about to come up, so like somewhere in these 5 picks that's coming up. And after I said it, I'm walking back in the house and I got the call.
And then he sat here and I looked over his shoulder and I saw like 832 and I'm like, no. I looked again and he was shaking his head and they were like, that's the call. And when I saw the 832, you know, I'm like, I think that's the Texans, but I'm like, you know, I'm like, no, like that would be too perfect. I mean, it would be too perfect, but.
If you looked at it, I stood up and I looked him in the face. And when he did this, I said, oh, I know already. He gonna be right here at home. I was like, God.
And then everybody was like screaming and we were like,
calm down, because they hadn't made the pick yet.
They hadn't made the pick, but like it was unreal.
With the 15th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Kenyon Green, Texas A&M.
For him to play in Texas, for the Texans, that's a dream come true, to play your whole life out there.
Yeah, never would have thought it.
It was a blessing, you know, just the screams and everything, the excitement, the joy of, you know, everybody. You know, it was just a great night. You know, it's my hometown, my home city, you know, growing up here, just playing Little League football, you know, just spending my childhood memories here. That's all I know is, you know, Houston. You know, it's my home base. I'm blessed, you know, out of all, you know, cities, you know, this the city that, you know, God, you know, let me be in.
Coming up, we're going deep in the Leaf. A-Leaf's own Obo Okoronkwo is next. We're back, and we're happy that you're back with us. You know, Obo Okoronkwo signed with the Texans last offseason, and he had just won a Super Bowl ring with the Los Angeles Rams. Grew up in A-Leaf, and safe to say, he's happy to be back in Houston, but he's really happy to give back from the place where he started.
Hey, right hand, there it is. Right hand, there it is.
It's all right here. You can do whatever you want. If you believe you can.
It's going good. It's just as hot as I thought it was going to be.
15 miles west of NRG Stadium, 100 local kids head to Crump Stadium in A-Leaf to to play some football.
When one-on-ones come, I'm gonna find you. All right?
It's a full circle moment for new Texan Obo Okoronkwo. Obo is hosting his first ever camp in his hometown.
We're gonna be doing some position drills, some agility drills, but most importantly, we're gonna be having a lot of fun. Hello. It feels amazing to be able to give back to these kids and, you know, just be a positive role model for them. Now that I'm here, I feel like I want to be able to empower kids to feel like they could be in this position.
I look light, but we heavy though.
A Super Bowl champion last year with the Rams, Obo's found team success at the very highest level. But nothing beats teaching the game in your own backyard.
Just like that? That's all? That's all right there?
None of that matters if you don't give back to your community, you know? I feel like that should be top of the list for every athlete, you know, coming out of their city, you know? The city supports you, you know, you gotta support the city.
Just a few years back, Obo starred on this field for Alief Taylor High School.
Obo, golly, man, that kid, we met him, I guess he got on campus his freshman year, so he's about 14 years old.
He's maybe was 170 pounds, dripping wet. He had a smile. He was always laughing. He was joking around.
The biggest thing, what we do is we try to make sure we recruit kids out of the hallway. And Obo had these really, really long arms. You know, so you're looking at this kid, like, God, he's long. You know, I bet he could play some football. So we just went up to him and was like, hey, man, you're interested in playing football? And we got him out there, and the rest is kind of history.
You saw his initial burst off the ball, and you're just like, oh my God, we could do something with this kid. And you could really see the steps that he did. And then, of course, throughout that time, you could really see how Obo grew.
His junior year is when the light just came on. One thing about Obo is he's got so much God-given ability. You know, like with his length, his speed, and his motor. Coaches can take credit for it, but let's be real. You know, like that's God-given. Like he just has a motor like no other.
You could really see, even from day one, Obo was never scared. And it was something that was a real attribute to Alief Taylor and just Alief in general, that he was always ready to push through and really basically never back down to anyone or anybody.
Tight to the line, tight to the cones, tight to the cones, tight to the cones, finish through, finish through, finish through. There you go. That's a perfect rep. That's a perfect rep.
The neat thing is now he's home, and when I tell you this, I mean it. Like it couldn't happen to a better kid. Like Obo is just a great kid. Doesn't need the shine, doesn't need all the attention, but he gets it because, again, he's got such a great personality, and people are drawn to him, man. He's just Obo.
What's your message to the kids?
You know, whatever you want to do, it's possible. You know, you can dream big, you have to work hard too.
It is full circle. And it's good to see that no matter what, he had a dream and he was able to get there, because I think Obo is an example that you can. He did have to work. There's some times, I guarantee you ask him, he was not very happy with me after a workout, because, you know, I'd have to push him that hard because I knew that he had it in him to be great. He just needed to pull it out of himself.
There you go, that looks good. Break. There you go, behind. Right hand. Right hand. Hop on 3. 1, 2, 3.
In just a few minutes, we got to give some nose tackle love. Earl Mitchell, a Texans legend, is coming up. We're back on Texans 360, and you know, so far on the show, we've ping-ponged from Atascocita to Alief, and now it's time to go to Galena Park and North Shore. North Shore Mustang Earl Mitchell eventually became a Houston Texan. We drafted him back in 2010, and I got a chance to kind of reconnect with his roots last offseason. You don't always get to choose where you grow up. You certainly don't get to choose who drafts you in the NFL. Houston native Earl Mitchell is finally able to choose where to settle down after a decade in the league. That place was always home. 30 minutes northwest of NRG Stadium is a school known for football excellence. North Shore has quickly become one of the titans of the Texas football world and a breeding ground for NFL talent. Now retired, Earl often revisits the field where it all began. We're back, man. This is where it all started for you, huh?
Yeah, man. It's just really nice to be back. I'm getting a lot of great memories.
So these guys pump out state titles on the reg, but you were a part of the first state title team here.
Yeah, man.
2003. What was that like?
It was a really cool experience for me. I got to be a part of, a great team. I learned a lot. It was just all about discipline and technique and a whole lot of effort. But for them to bring me up, and that was my first time getting the varsity jersey, and I remember being one of the few sophomores on that team. It was really special just to get that opportunity because we had such a talented team, and that was just a really hard team to be on.
What do you first remember about playing football here, though, coming out of the tunnel or coming out of wherever? What was it like, your first memory?
My first memory, really just seeing the stadium. We had two separate campuses, and I remember the first time I got a chance to practice with the varsity, and this was my first time seeing the stadium, and I didn't realize that this is what I was going to be doing for the next couple of years of my life. But yeah, just seeing the stadium, the roar of the crowd, I remember the excitement.
Okay, playing at a place like this, what is Friday like? Not Friday night, but what is Friday like here at North Shore?
Yeah, it's excitement. You wake up in the morning and you're so excited to just to do something special that day. And I know when I was in high school, I just remember how just chill, just getting ready for that entire day. And that night was always going to be really special. Especially here, the fans were always on your side. That was just a big part of it, just the entire experience where everybody was just really happy to be a part of the time honored tradition where we won most of our games.
Earl may be selling that 03 Mustangs team a bit short. That year, North Shore went 15-0. The Mustangs met the Woodlands at Rice Stadium for the title game, and they took home their first state championship in program history. A 23-7 resounding win over the Highlanders, setting the standard of excellence for future generations to follow. A lot of gold footballs in that trophy case, man.
A lot of them. Yeah, a lot of state championships, and this is the tradition right here. A lot of things that these kids can be proud of, and they get to see it every day when they walk through the doors here. These kids, you need something to stand on and something to hold yourselves accountable to. So I remember thinking the very first time we got to hold that trophy and just thinking about how important it would be for us for the years moving forward for us to get another one. And these kids, they get a chance, they get to see that, and they see the pictures on the wall, and they want the same thing. And there's a lot of history and stories behind a lot of great players, and I'm sure they want the same for themselves.
Your career starts here. You have stops in Miami, San Francisco, meaningful contributor in both of those places. But you come back to Houston, why?
Because this is home. I love it here. Born and raised here, and this is where I want to spend my life. And I never took it for granted. Being drafted here, it meant something to me, and I knew that for the rest of my life that I'll be able to give back and work in the community. And I'm extremely thankful just to be a part of the team in that aspect.
Why is Houston home?
Houston is family. It's great food. It's great football, and there's a lot of history here, and I love just being a part of it.
He's going to go down. Alex Smith sacked by Earl Mitchell, and he does the thunder stop celebration.
There's so much history at where I grew up, and there's traditions. When it comes to the pride that we have here, and the players that I got to play against that I knew were from Texas, it's one of those things you get to see that person and you get to be proud of them. We're different out here. When I go to college in Arizona, meet people from Texas, and they come up to me, they shake my hand, and they make you feel welcome. And that was ultimately the biggest difference, what I saw with us Texas players. It's so easy to be proud when you get all of those wrapped in one.
In just a bit, does number 5 make the top 5? You're darn tootin' he does. We've got the best defensive plays of 2022.
Touchdown, Houston, 75 yards.
We're back here on Texans 360, and you know, Jalen Petrie wore the jersey number 5, and he probably will again next season and every season after that he's a Texan. You can bet that number 5 made the top 5 defensive plays of 2022. Enjoy.
Mahomes puts the leg down. Here's the snap. Mahomes looking. Mahomes under pressure. Mahomes is going to be sacked by Cashman. My goodness, the Texans D comes up with a huge stop on 3rd down. Prescott to throw. Looking. Prescott hit as he throws. The ball is out. Obo got a piece of it. There's a scramble for it inside the 5. Gets the snap, quick throw right side. Tremont Smith with the interception off the deflection. There's left, one to the right, one back. Prescott gets the snap. He's in his end zone. He throws right side. And it's picked off. The Texans have it at the 5. Smith again. Houston has the takeaway as they pick off Prescott for the 2nd time today. 2nd and 11 from the Chicago 19. Fields in the gun. Backs motion, and now Fields throwing downfield over the middle. It's picked off. Petrie with the pick. Fields unloads deep, and it's picked off by Petrie. Taken across the 50 to his right 45 and brought down at the 39-yard line by Herbert. Petrie with pick number 2. Jackson to his left, bunch formation left. Ellinger fakes the give. There's pressure. Kenyon Green. And here's a throw. Here's a pick. Bernard to his right. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Pick 6. Jonathan Bernard.
We sure do appreciate you checking out Texans 360. This show would not have happened without the great Tyler Suddarth doing all the work behind the scenes. Check us out on HoustonTexans.com, the Houston Texans mobile app, and we can't wait to see you again here with us next time on Texans 360. So long. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.